So recently, a bunch of unaired pilots found their way online, dating back to the 90s. What I want to do is look at these pilots and determine two things. 1, did it have potential? And 2, how different would popular culture be if this pilot was picked up for series? Today we're opening up the pilot vault and looking at the pilot for a show called Family Practice, a 2011 unaired pilot. This one centres around Dr. Adam Foote, a doctor who joins his parents' medical practice and spends as much time tending to his family as he does to his patients. That's literally all I know about this pilot. Usually I know some details about it and about why it never aired, but there's barely anything about this one online. The trivia on the IMDb only contains 2 things, and I'm pretty sure that both of them were submitted by whoever Audrey Esparza is. I mean, she's got to have submitted them herself, hasn't she? That's a bit too suspicious. So let's just delve in and see what we've got. The episode begins with the main character being quizzed by his brother, who's trying to help him learn medical stuff so he knows what he's doing. Imagine going for your breakfast before your doctor's appointment and you see your doctor reading off cue cards on the table next to you. You'd panic and never go to their appointments. So Adam is already a doctor, but he's been working with animals in a medical facility for years, so he's not used to working with humans. So, you know, I kind of like that setup. His brother is a banker. We know this because it's told to us in some incredibly forced exposition.
What do you care? You manage a bank. You make more money than the rest of us combined.
This pilot even has an opening title sequence which suggests that it came pretty far along in the production timeline, because most of these pilots never even get to that point. We then meet his parents, and his dad is played by Duffy from Justified. He was great in that show, but I can't see him being in a comedy, so this should be interesting. Now I think about it, I did say the same thing about Boyd from that show. What's the actor's name? It was a really peculiar name. I think it was Walton Goggins or something. God, that does not sound like a fake name. I could have completely made that up. But yeah, he too tried to move into comedy after Justified. He did that show, The Unicorn, and I just couldn't see him as someone you laugh at. I loved to hate him in Justified, but yeah, the transition didn't work for me. So it'll be interesting to see if Duffy can convince me that he's funny. Oh, and look who it is. It's Christopher Lloyd. He's actually in another unaired pilot, which was an attempt to make an American version of Only Fools and Horses. That video should be out soon. I'm currently reading a book about it, so it's taken a little bit more effort than usual. Christopher Lloyd never seems to turn down any work, so it doesn't surprise me in the slightest to learn that he was in 2 unaired pilots. If anything, I figured that number would be higher. In this, he's playing Adam's grandfather.
Oh, this could be tough.
If you're not up to it, I can get you some more finger paints, genius.
No way. Octavia Spencer is in this, playing a receptionist. The Octavia Spencer. She's way too good of an actor to be in this. She's an Academy Award winner. Weirdly enough, I remember thinking the exact same thing when she was in that Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell Christmas movie, Spirited. I'm pretty sure she played a receptionist in that movie as well. She's far too good for these roles. So while the A-plot for this episode is Adam learning how to deal with patients whilst also dealing with his family, the B-plot centres around Christopher Lloyd talking to this woman from the drug company. I think this is the Audrey who added her own IMDb trivia to this pilot. Adam struggles to communicate with his parents, and his bedside manner needs some work. He keeps using like medical jargon that his patients don't understand, and when he tries to break it down so they can understand it, he just ends up scaring them. So that's what he's working on. And there's also this really dull subplot where Adam has broken up with his fiance but hasn't told his parents, and his mum just keeps digging for more information because she senses that something is wrong. It's not very interesting, but hey, subplot's got a subplot. And there's a bit where the woman from the drug company gives Christopher Lloyd some medical glue, which he then uses to glue items to the table in order to prank Adam. This medical glue comes back into the plot later, you'll see. Then there's a scene with the dad and the son who's a banker, where it becomes clear that the dad never liked this son. He's a much bigger fan of Adam because he went into the medical field. So for a while in the B-plot, we thought that Christopher Lloyd's character was a big pervert. But it turns out he's just working the woman for free samples. And we're hit with a double reveal. We're told that Octavia Spencer and Christopher Lloyd's character had a sexual relationship in the 90s. I think it's meant to be a joke because these two don't really go together because of the age difference, but it's not the funniest. And then we get some physical comedy from Christopher Lloyd, where he does some old man running. I mean, that's not bad going, considering he was, 70 odd at this point, but yeah. The woman from the drug company discovers that Christopher Lloyd has been stealing her samples, so she leaves. Meanwhile, Adam thinks he's convinced his dad to have lunch with him and his brother because his brother feels left out. But the dad uses this opportunity to trick Adam into having therapy. The brother is obviously fuming at this, not only because he was tricked, but because his dad didn't even care enough to force him into therapy as well. Most of this pilot is centered around this one guy, this patient, who I think is only there to teach Adam about how to deal with human beings again. They end up gluing themselves to him. I don't know what we're meant to learn from there. This pilot could have been interesting if they delved into that, human aspect of it, how it's difficult to connect with other human beings, but instead they just glued themselves to the patient. I'm not sure where this pilot was going, to be honest. Christopher Lloyd is pretty decent in this, but that's about to be expected. Even when he phones it in, he delivers a great performance. Like, he can't help but be brilliant. I imagine it's the same for the Only Fools and Horses American reboot, but we'll get to that one another day. They bring back the woman from the drug company and attempt to convince her to give them the material needed to remove the medical glue, but she's annoyed at Christopher Lloyd for stealing the samples still, so she refuses. Adam and his mum have a bit of a therapy session where they basically force the patient to play a part in it, and then we have like an emotional beat where Adam learns how much his mum loves him, and it encourages him to tell her all about him breaking up with his fiancée. Turns out his fiancée cheated on him with a dentist, which is particularly offensive to the mum. Do doctors and dentists really have like a rivalry like the different football teams? It's then that they discover that the patient has carbon monoxide poisoning. Really? That's what this has all been about? All you need to do is make one post on Reddit about forgetting things, and every single comment will tell you that that's what you've got. He didn't have to go to the doctor for that. The dad asks the drug company lady for her number. Not for him, but for his son. God, imagine your dad setting you up with someone. Sounds like hell. The final scene shows the guys packing up for the day and locking up, and the final joke is Christopher Lloyd complaining about being locked inside the bathroom. Well, it looks like he'll be trapped in there forever, because this pilot was not picked up for a full series. Poor Christopher Lloyd. I swear, if the Only Fools and Horses pilot ends with him being trapped in the bathroom, then our idea that all these shows share one cinematic universe will be proven true. The PVCU, the Pilot Vault Cinematic Universe. Wait, I just realised they didn't even have a final scene for Octavia Spencer. You mean they had her appear in this pilot in a wasted role just to give her like 2 scenes and then didn't even give her a farewell? The last we saw her character was when she implanted the image of her having sex with Christopher Lloyd in her head. She was criminally underutilized here. Just wrong. So where does this pilot rank among the other unaired pilots I've looked at? Well, it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. I'm gonna put this in the mid category. But looking at these other shows, I think this one belongs pretty low down. I'll put this in between Imperfect Union and Dead Boss. I think that's more than fair. Right, are there any other unaired pilots you want me to look at? If so, let me know in the comments, and subscribe, help us get to 4K. Right, there you go.